are there any kids in your tribe that are becoming runners or are doing other activities because of what you're doing now?
I know with a lot of the updates that I've been providing on my personal Facebook page, I've been getting a lot of support from individual tribal members, and I think that's been working out. I think being a member of our tribal council, I'm also a member of our tribal council back home in Tama, and I serve as a secretary. I've been on our tribal council for 2 years now, and I think it's important to as a leader to exemplify and to serve as a model for what you want in a person, and within your community. You have to not only it's not enough to lead by example. You have to live by example, and that's what I try to do. I know that for me, health is an important thing. I'm going on my 8th year of sobriety right now, and running has really changed my life around. It's always interesting to think of where I was 8 years ago, and to be here today doing what I'm doing, to be on the tribal council, to be a young person on the tribal council, and to be, drug and alcohol free, to be taking care of my health, and just trying to live up to the responsibilities that are placed upon me. I think that's extremely important.
I think that you bring up a really good point, or something that we could maybe talk a little bit more about. Drug and alcohol are American Indian and Alaska Native communities. What kind of words of wisdom can you share about that?
Well, I think it would go all the way back to March of 2003 when my sister had passed. The day that I had found out about that was the day that I stopped drinking alcohol. And I knew then and there that I had that choice to do something different. And I also knew that there were reasons other than doing it for myself. When I decided to be sober, live a sober lifestyle, I thought of my family first. I thought of my sister, and I thought of my grandma. I thought of my family, and I knew that I had to change. I knew that I had to be stronger for them and for myself because of the hardships that we were facing, going through tragedy and suffering loss. That was the tipping point for me. I knew that in those days I wasn't in a good place myself, and I wanted something better. But as far as I think with sobriety in general, I'm kind of getting lost in my thought.
So, were there any people along the way that kind of helped you make that decision? Because there's always decisions that anybody can make. Especially adolescents, they're faced with so many different choices that they have to make. Peer pressure about drugs and alcohol, and everything.
It was, I think the major influence in my life has always been my grandma. And she really is the most important person in my life. When it came to thinking of my sobriety, I ended up putting this situation in front of me where I would imagine going through temptation and having alcohol in my hand, having a beer in my hand, and thinking to myself, if I'm going to drink this, I would imagine my grandma standing there watching me do that. And I would imagine how that would make her feel. Would that hurt her? Would that make her sad? Would that disappoint her? And so those were the things that always kept me from temptation. And eventually it ended up being easier to the point where, I didn't have to use that. It just became a natural part of my life to stay away from drugs and alcohol. So I think there are certain things in everyone's life that can serve as, as that example. Maybe it's your mother, maybe it's your father. I mean, it might be your, son or daughter or your nephew. It could be anybody or anything. But I really think it just comes down to sticking with it, committing yourself to that. It's never an easy thing. I'm 8 years later, I still struggle myself. So you take it one day at a time.